Mr. Majid Dahiru, a leading newspaper columnist and public affairs analyst. Without much ado, the Senate, a couple of days ago, in their continuation of the constitutional reforms, even Electoral Act reforms, they decided in their wisdom to exclude mandatory electronic transmission of results against the clear wishes of voting Nigerians. What do you have to say to this?
Well, that was a surprise to anybody.
Really?
No, of course. I wasn't expecting this current National Assembly that is dominated by the APC, that is also led by distinguished Senator Akpabio, to effect any progressive change to Electoral Act. I mean, I wasn't expecting it at all. Because, you see, the ruling party is not unaware of the fact that they have underperformed. They are not unaware at all. And they know that they'll be going into the next election with a heavy burden of incumbency disadvantage arising from poor performance in government. And because what those who want to hold on to power by all means possible, they will not risk any form of reform at all that can indeed enable the people to hire and fire freely and willingly in the next round of election. Because indeed, it will adversely affect the electoral fortune. So I was never under any illusion at all that there is going to be any major reform that will move forward our electoral processes going to the 2027 election. Besides, the president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who is also the leader of the ruling party, has never shown any interest in electoral reform matters. Unlike President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, who acknowledged that the election that brought him in was flawed and required some improvement, and so set in motion processes that would eventually clean up the entire electoral management system in this country, which eventually culminated into the Uwais panel and then subsequent reports that were partially implemented by the Goodluck Jonathan administration. Now, the president, for instance, didn't say anything wrong at all with the election that brought him in. Absolutely not. And has not in any way, I've not heard him talk about electoral reform anyway. So there's no commitment to that. And he's the leader of the ruling party. So do you expect members of the ruling party in the National Assembly, now in the clear majority, to carry out any reform that will reflect the people's wishes? I was not expecting that at all. So I'm not disappointed. What I've told the people of Nigeria to do is simple. You may have to adopt a certain level of resilience to be able to annul the effect of any imperfections in the electoral system. That is the key that is available to the Nigerian people. That's the only tool, that's the only instrument. It has to be a resolve of the people to say, look, despite the imperfections, we are going to vote, come out in large numbers to vote, and monitor our vote and make sure it counts, and make the necessary sacrifices for that to happen. Because one thing I know is that people power can dissolve, can trump, can neutralize any attempt at electoral subterfuge by incumbent government. But the ball is in the court of the people. Are they willing and are they ready and are they galvanized enough for that to happen? Time will tell.
So, in essence, this decision of the Senate is an advanced manipulation of the 2027 elections. Can you read it like that?
Let's put it this way. It's a sustenance of the status quo that has been characterized by imperfections in our electoral management system, which is not a true reflection of the people's will.
So, in 2023, we saw this debacle of glitch that happened during transmission, and then the server was shut down and all of that. So, are we foreseeing a repeat of this in 2020?
Or something much worse, because the push for a mandatory transmission of results was such that it's no longer at the discretion of INEC. And so INEC can no longer give the excuse that there was a technical glitch that shut down the server in the process of declaring elections electronically or transmitting them electronically in real time. Now, it's going to be mandatory. Meaning, for instance, if there's a glitch, you have to repeat that election. I do not think the ruling class in Nigeria is ready for true democratic change in this country, because they are enjoying the status quo. They are in power. They know that they have not really served the people's interest. They are aware. They are not oblivious of this fact. And so they will not do anything that will be akin to committing class suicide by enabling you and I, the people, to hire and fire freely. That power is not something they're ready to give to us. But we can actually take it as a people. If only we are resolute, we are resolved as a people to say, we have identified those whom we want to elect into positions of leadership across the board, and we are willing to make the sacrifice required, which is the resilience, the steadfastness, the commitment to stay focused and stay the course. If we're able to do that and people power is harnessed properly, it will dissolve any or neutralize any attempt at electoral subterfuge.
If Beaver's results are no longer, mandatory towards, free.
Those 4 eyes we did there, I see. With oh my guess, we did there. But anyway, welcome. Before I don't set up, concluded what I'm going to talk about today before I storm on that man video. When this whole noise starts about electoral reform, I ask, come, which electoral reform are they talking about? I mean, am I living in a different country, or now only me and I understand how system or reality they work? Because all we need to do now to sit down and ask how long it take them for Buhari to even do the little reform that they did. It took them over 10 years. And it makes sense because now them to write the law. You are now asking them to write the law that will literally go against them. Now, I just the reason I said that, if they pay attention very well, 2022, when Buhari actually do a little bit reform, almost half of the Senate no come back. They lost their position. And you think they will do the same thing again? Especially when there's a selfish interest behind the whole call for electoral reform. Because these people are lazy. I've been saying it. The opposition are the enemies of Nigeria. Those people who are saying, I want to be president, I want to change this, I want to make Nigeria. Those are the real enemies of the problem, because they are not doing anything about it. It takes more than just say, I am qualified, I have done this, I have done this. If you really want to actually serve the people, you can't do it without them. So if to say these people go back to the people and mobilize people enough, mobilize just 1 million Nigerians to carry this electoral reform for it, they no get choice. They will have to act on it. But when I gather on ourselves, because now I no book pass. Now I want, this is the time to everybody to get paid. Anyway, I got it. But it is an act of laziness. And at this point, it's becoming an insult to the general people for these people to do the same thing every year. Come to mobilize people at the 11th hour, begin to insult and do whatever they can to make sure people go their way. And if they're done, it becomes a problem. How long? How long are we going to continue just doing the same thing? If there's anything I learned about joining doing track and field for Nigerians, and not just like make me understand the nitty-gritty of the Nigerian state, but the institution itself, call it FM, but above all, how things work. The difference between Nigeria and every other top nation in the world when it comes to sports is just the preparation, nothing else. We they always wake up a night to the event and think because we've been Nigeria, we can make things happen now. That's not how it works. The same thing, and they always use Olympic cycle as an example to presidential election. Now, 4 years, you can't wake up overnight and you say you want to win presidency. It doesn't work like that. So So when these people they parade themselves, the excuse Showore were given was given. Yeah, I mean the take it back movement were given 2023 was oh, one, it was in and out of jail. Two, Obi don't hijack their movement. Everything that I've been working for Obi don't hijack, and it's been 4 years now. What happened? These people are anti-people. They hate the fact that they like the fact that now only few of them now understand the system. So they will do everything they can to make sure the general people never understand. Just like the way the governing people, which you understand, if you're in government, you understand why you want the majority of the people to be stupid, because that's the only way you can maintain being in power. But those who are looking to get into the position of power, you expect them to think the other way around. You expect them to form a relationship with the people that those in government are trying to deny the process. But no, after all, na turn by turn. Make them not just die. All right. So because what is the excuse now for people like Den Showore who cry for how many years and his followers that Obi has hijacked their movement, has hijacked everything that they've been doing. Now, let's put some statistics to it. According to INEC, over 90 million Nigerians registered to vote 2023. At the end of the day, now less than 30 million people actually recorded to took part. Right? What happened to the rest of about 60 or say 50 million people? Now Obi self 9 sit down on top of those ones. Let's even join now Obi sit down on top of those ones. No, those people are still Nigerians. They are here. You don't need to travel, go meet them. But again, to organize, it takes time, takes a lot of resources. And again, you might not even live to reap the fruit of your what you have set in motion. These people know that. Because you have to convince. The only way those in power cannot rig the election if just more people participate. It was easy for them to do what they do because now less than 30 million people. That's not easy thing. People they use 100, 200 million until they practice for the past 20 years. Let the opposition do what they needed to do, bring more people into the system and see how easy it's going to be for them to rig the election. But they know, because once you bring more people in, even them no stand a chance. But again, these are the thinking of those who are in power. You expect them to actually reason this way. But those who want power, why exist the fact that they are reasoning the same way? Those who are holding power are reasoning. Something is wrong. So these people are our enemy. What is that they call them? Ferrari, they always talk the enemy with the enemy with him. I don't even understand what they mean by enemy with him. All these people where they parade themselves, them Dele Faro to me, every one of them that you see on TV, they are all enemy of the people. Because if you are not enemy of the people, the easiest way to take these men out of power and to bring more people is as simple like there's no other logic behind it. Every one of them conclude that 2023 was rigged. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and tell you how the election was rigged. It's not spiritual. Now, if you now see them and ask them, what have they done from 2023 to now to make sure what happened never happen again? Or it's impossible for it to happen, or they will spend more money to make it happen. They don't do anything. They were all complaining and just joining. They always react to the provocation of those in power, as if they don't understand that it is a game. The goal of those in government is to make sure that the majority of the people don't even know, are far away from actually what is going on. That's why everybody, if you go to any TV station, all they talk about are things that every Nigerian cannot relate to. So they use excuse, say IReV, 2023. The same thing has started. You want electoral reform. In other words, you want people who wrote the law to go and alter the law so that they will be vulnerable. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's your entitlement. But in order for you to make that happen, you go put gun for their head. How do you do that? Just go and meet the people, educate the people, organize the people, inform the people, empower the people, and see if 1 million people head on just come off for street from every towns and villages in Nigeria. Whatever they want, the demand will not be met. But when you not just gather, they go from channels to Arise to every platform to another. And you think these men will say, oh, because people sabi speak grammar, let's do what they ask for. I don't know. Maybe that may just the reason like that. But I mean, Nigerian, I understand pretty much well that those who govern us are also Nigerian. That's how I've been Nigerian. That's human. Now, human being, now normal thing be that. Now, normal thing be that. You give any human power, unless you fence out, you put gun for as they come. After you have to leave. If not, they will always find one way or the other to keep staying in power, either to start war in terms of the developed world. People where they believe that Trump no go fit come back 2028. They should just keep their finger crossed. By the time the majority of the Americans will start saying yes, now we want to come back, everybody will shock. But the point here is that if these men who are looking for power, Showore has not been able to even account for the numbers of his followership from 1999 to date to see where he don't had to have been done, he don't drop. Most Nigeria don't forget say you get political party. Because his tactic is not working. He's only protesting, always doing all that. Not even from the banner of his political party. But some people go see the follow argue, say, oh, this guy no be agent. That's a conversation for another day. Obi is another man. Maybe let's listen to this man a little bit first. Come back to Obi.
Fair and credible elections. Why did we invest so much money, national resources into its acquisition? Why?
In procurement processes, for those who want to, who wanted to carry out the bazaar of contracting and procurement of some of these things, for me that was the major motivation. Nothing more than that. Look, I keep saying this. In a community of human beings, there's a difference between a human being and an animal. You don't need too much of technology to conduct a fair election. As a human being, if you are standing for election, you should not accept a single drop of vote into your ballot box if you did not earn it. As a human being, ordinarily, if you stand for an election and 5 people voted for you genuinely, and somebody decides to add 1 vote to make it 6, as a human being, you are supposed to reject it. Meaning you don't even accept such things in your own favor, let alone perpetrating it. I've always argued that the problem with Nigeria is not electoral reforms or electoral laws. It is the fact that integrity of the system is lacking at whatever level. And rather than working on the integrity of the system, the integrity of the participants, the integrity of the processes, we resorted to the long arm of the law. Even if these guys had decided to include mandatory transmission of results in real time, electronic transmission of results, be rest assured that somebody somewhere would have also studied the same law to undermine it at a level that will marvel you, that will take you by surprise on election day. We've seen this happen over and over again. We've seen how card readers were undermined because of the loophole of incident forms. We saw it. The same thing with the beavers and other processes. So for me, let's stop spending money on all of these processes. All of these procurements of technology is no longer necessary. As long as it is not legally tenable, let us concentrate more on developing the integrity of the system, beginning not necessarily with even INEC, with the electoral process itself. You see, the weakest link in our democracy value chain has been the political party system.
That's why I say one party system is what we need.
Ordinarily, in a democracy, power is given and not taken. This is important. It's important to begin to redefine some of these terms we bandy around. In a democracy, you don't take power, it's given to you. But the political parties are operating on the maxim that power is taken and not given, meaning they hijack it, they steal it, they run away with it. So we have to go back to that level. Can we now have political parties that have been to understand that power is freely given by the people as a trust? That is a responsibility that comes from privilege, but not for responsibility to uphold that social contract between the people and government on the delivery of welfare and security for the people. Until we have this fundamental reset and reconfiguration of the political party system, we are participants to that play by the rules.
The only way this can be achieved is for people like this man and you where they listen to go back to the basics, the natural way. You have to go and educate the people. The whole point of educating the people is not because you know better than them. No, it is because among those people are going to be your generals, are going to be your foot soldiers, are going to be your intellectual think tank, are going to be your That's why, so that when you are going, you will not feel as if you are alone. But again, how many of these leaders are ready to share the little platform, the little name they're enjoying with every other person out there in the village? So we are the kind of government system we adopt is people centric. And if a country of 250 million people, quote unquote, to which about 100 million of those numbers are mature and old enough to be political active animal. Then we have what, less than 30-40 million people playing the game. I mean, what do you expect? There is a reason where that's why when some of us who have come of age, they argue that, oh, back in the days, the community were safer, things were like this, things were like that. Yes, because there were adults who were in charge of things to make sure things the way they were as growing up seeing it. Those people no go dey there forever. Nature will take its course. They don't old, they don't die off. And you that saw, you were fortunate enough to see where things were a little bit better, instead of you to now stay behind or go back and actually make sure what you see growing up take be the order of the day. No, all everybody wrong come out where everybody they complain, this road no good. Like, of course, is human being, they grow up, they die, like life cycle. What do you expect? We seem to accuse the Nigerian people of lack of maintenance culture. Are you not a Nigerian? So for us to have a political system that is actually people centric, we have to have people like him, people like those who are in front of who understand the system. Have to go back. People like Gandhi of India. He had to go back to his village, literally go back to the classroom as a lawyer, and guess what? Teach. From just himself, before you know, they have millions of people like him. That's how we were able to free India from the British. Again, because we have not yet fought for our freedom. We have not fought for our freedom yet. That's why we don't understand that life, just as he said, power is given, is not taken. So is freedom. So the opposition, they are the enemy of the people. The imagined elite are the enemy of the people. Nigerian, I greet you. People are the Nigerian. They are the enemy of the people. Eh? Person will be say you go there holiday for 3 months, 6 months. So may go back in village, go to teach people how they go take go back their village. You go enter yacht, go stay for Atlantic Ocean for 2 weeks, go Mount Everest for 1 week, then come back to a 5-star hotel for London, begin tweet. A new Nigeria is possible. Take it back. Eh? So everyone, I want to talk about the IReV because that's the new grammar be that to confuse the local man. After all, we know Sabi speak English. If you want to stay posh, you want to criticize the government in the front of the locals, you say, imagine they refuse to implement the IReV. What is the IReV? Everyone want to talk about the Saba, and the glitch. A glitch. X an average man that is using that phrase. What does that even mean? They don't know. And you expect there should not be glitch again. Because if you don't understand what it means, and that means you cannot actually counter it. That's why after the election, even though they know they tell them say there was a glitch, the election was rigged, everything that they actually itemize that is responsible for the way the election result went as something visible, practical, none is foreign, nothing spiritual. But guess what? The leaders carry them go Chicago, make them go they shout. They look for waiting, I don't know. They were in Chicago for what? 3-4 months, 3-4 weeks. Nigerian. How long will they for Chicago? As soon as they come from Chicago, they don't prepare another distraction with them. They have to go to Supreme Court. Waiting because their hashtag again. You know, from there, after they don't dawn on them, they come. This is the reality. They begin go from hashtag bad government, hashtag all this nonsense. So let's be honest for a second. Okay. You can't transmit what you did not collect. It's as simple as that. You don't have structure in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. Anywhere where human being, if you are serious of winning being the number one city of this country, there should be your presence in anywhere where Nigerians stay, regardless of how remote that community is. There should be your presence there 24/7. There should be a representative. There should be somebody. Or if not, what you want to govern, who you want to represent? You are not coming to spend your money. So the opposition isn't spending 4 years building, just a build hashtag, build hope. New Nigeria is possible. That some just useless things. Without spending even 1/4 of that time organizing the people, building the people. No, they will come, they preach. I mean, that's why they always use Nigerian pastors and churches as a clear example. They have the blueprint. It's right there for everybody to follow. You will never see a Redeemite going out to Muslim community trying to convince a Muslim to accept Jesus Christ or to abandon his own a Muslim way of life to join them. You never see that. That's like nobody does that. The same thing, you will never see a Muslim they go enter where Christian they with the attempts to convert them. They know it's not going to work. They're preaching to the choir. But you will see Redeem going toward the term as unbelievers to make them believe. The same thing with the Muslim people. They go to people that they believe that. So there is a reason they are know, say, I don't know. I have no idea my this thing go. Come, Najama, where you did Naija, it won't finish you. Go back to your snow now. I mean, I don't know why. You see this? You see what they talk? Yeah. Why you go now? If Nigeria is too hot, go enter your freezer. Go back to Europe and see which one is hotter. Eh, no light. Now you will go buy generator, Abi, instead of you to mobilize your neighbor. If now 1 month it will take you, or 1 year it will take you to mobilize your street, then before you know, the next street will join. Before you know, if now 5 years, sacrifice 5 years to organize your community and see if you will get constant light after 5 years. The opposition know that, but they won't do it, because if they dare try it themselves, no go get, they no go, they will nobody, they're not going. Who go they even call them? Who will even? Let's say everything they go on well. It's like 75% of Nigerians are politically conscious. There's constant electricity. It is now Obi, Konkoso, Bola, Tinubu, na them we go to talk about. Hell no. They understand this game. So you don't feel the same pain, no. Sacrifice for a better tomorrow. Really repeat, a new Nigeria is possible. How? They tell the same people, all of us know, say na bullshit they talk. Go to the villages, establish structures. If you put $1 billion, $1 billion naira for ground, I think every local government will have at least 3, 4, 5 people. You have an office in every local government in this country. I be a Nigerian, 1 billion naira. You no go get at least an office of every one of the 774 local governments. The office is just that information, everyday information will trickle down. That means if you want to know what's up, I hear Obi that they talk about Obi on the radio that evening, and they say if I go so place there, they there. Now I'm here. They get more information. They move. That's how I don't know why I grew up. They see SDP and NROC structures everywhere. Those way there's NROC and PDP buildings, big buildings everywhere. Then we come from. I think they later convert them to Petroleum Trust Fund under Buhari then. So these greedy motherfuckers, these power mongers, all this opposition, who are the enemy of the state. Now they harass Nigerians begins to vote for them. You left Nigerians many 3 years without even say. I mean, my point here is I don't expect Obi, Tinubu, Konkoso, Showore. I'm using them as a point of contact because now then say they want when I don't say they will give them our money, may they use them for us. I don't expect these men and women to they actually go from one village to another. I mean, if they can, that's fine, but I don't expect them because there's so many things that need the attention. But all I'm saying, this a person like me now, all of a sudden I bring 1 billion come out. I begin to make people to talk about me for every day. People go to say, "Well, that man focus." Right? It will take data, but these men don't establish their name out of their notoriety, one way or the other. So, in other words, Obi, for instance, if let's say Obi no get money, but with what he has able to prove, if Obi come and say, "Come, I need 1 billion naira from the obedient family worldwide. Why? What is that for? To institute office in each of the 774 local governments. I don't think that if he tweet it out under 4-5 hours, they go realize that money. And guess what? If he tweet again that he need volunteers across the length and breadth of this country, young people within the age of 18 to 25, man and woman, or 5, that will constitute a meeting point, an office in each of these local government. Again, under 4-5 hours, people, that space will be covered. It never finish. Then you give them time to blossom. 5 years, 10 years, and see what is going to happen. But you know why they're not going to do them? Because the paymaster is one of the clause that was given to them before they allowed them to deflex as in deflexo. Any attempt for either of these people to actually say, you know what, I'll pause my presidential ambition. Like Obi will famously say, I'm not desperate to become a president. I just want to see the Nigerian work. Good. Just go. Go and implement that thing that you believe will make Nigerian work in every local government, every school. And see if Nigeria no go work after 20 years. But no, that na just they deceive. So these men where they parade themselves, because I'm saying this because very soon, when election called the rigor, maybe this time around, they will want to go a step further to instigate people to come and they go kill people like fowl. Nothing will happen. I am saying it because now the season, people are not paying attention to what is going around in the world. Nigeria, we say we did special. People know they understand what they are. The world, they go wipe, they go keep people like fowl, and nothing will happen. But if these men dedicate the next 5 years conscientizing the average Nigerian, I swear to God, they no go feel say once the Nigerian rise, they no fit. I mean, they won't kill. But again, you cannot. It's not no be juju. No be juju. Cannot transmit what you don't have. We can say if he didn't day, he didn't day. It's that simple. If he didn't day, he didn't day. You can't give what you don't have. You cannot mobilize people when they tell where they say Obi should have ginger the Nigerian youth to enter street. How many people think they go follow him? Let's really actually tear into that organization. I mean, is that an organic movement? He understands that the force way Tinubu go mobilize, he go consume as a rehearse anywhere way wrong go. Because they have not done, you cannot tell an average Nigerian who know you haven't invested in his life in terms of knowledge to come and collect bullet for you. It's not going to happen. So they just spend the last 4 years building hashtags. They build unnecessary hope. But little time was spent to build the Nigerian people. They treated the Nigerian masses like captive audience rather than the sleeping giants that needed to be waking up, educated and protected. This education, who they talk, we know how to make you teach them. No, just say, come. You wait this place, this is your village. So the only way you can be part and parcel of the system, the only way you can take advantage of the democracy, the only way your condition can change is to be active, be interested, know who represents you at the local level. This is the education we are talking about. Not be say go to teach every Nigeria a quadratic equation, how I want to go moon, go sky, go bush. No, just the basic responsibility of a citizen. I shall go the jump from one platform to another. I want a Nigeria whereby nobody can be somebody, be an active citizen. You are jumping from one church to another. Nobody cares. Go to the unbeliever. Go to those inner community where the population are and let them understand that this is how things supposed to work. We don't tell them say make you tell them they come Abuja. No, if you conscientize an average village people that this is their responsibility, that the village belongs to them, that they have the absolute power to determine who represent them at that level, fire the person, hire the person, make them understand all these things. Guess what? You don't need an agent. You don't need to pay an agent to go and protect votes at that local. No, they go die for what they belong. That's their own. But for you to they expect them to come die for you for Abuja, no, it's not going to work. So now the education where you go educate and have in Nigeria, not be say you go to insult them. It's stupid and make them suffer. I mean, one of the reasons that will make me the verse for Konkoso and Galadima. Now when Galadima come and talk, say, when they tell us in Nigerians and so, say me they die. Nigga, how much you spend? How many people you don't talk to? Because you they jump from one channels to Arise, you think that is where Nigerians reside? And you have the infantry to come, they tell them, say, may they die for voting for their own interest. Who the fuck do you think you is? So the working of Nigeria, the education that the Nigerian need is not say make you teach them how to no, just let them say come. Now because say you no care or you no know or you are not interested, now make men feel they do the way that they do. That's why I adopt the policy. Vote for anybody where know they live for you or where you did. Don't vote for him. If a councillor know they go the same market, and children know they go the same school, where you know, don't vote for that person. It doesn't matter where that person come from, how many dollars and bring come, how many English you speak. It will never represent your interests. If your House of Rep member know they live for the constituency, stop voting for that person. State out of Rep does not have any business living in Benin. Let me use Edo as an example. Akoko Edo, a state House of Assembly representative, I don't have any business living in Benin. The ward that is representative, they don't be there that they live. If he cannot live within the ward, no people cannot vote for him. These are the education, these are the waking up. You need to wake Nigerians, not be anything special. It's not special for them because they have the reach already. They have the platform already. Sure, at one point, every time they can already listen to Sarah reporters. What happened? As a senator, if your senator no get office for his constituency and he doesn't spend at least 6 months of every year in that constituency, stop voting for him. It's that simple. Your state House of Assembly where they represent you from places like Okoedo, for instance, in children, no they go the same school where your children they go. They know they go the same market where una they go. They know they drive for the same road una they drive, and you think it's going to have your interest. Before you arrange your people go the finance for Benin, you can't even afford it in the first place. But if they live for the same, we be saying you all you need to do now to work out 10 minutes, you don't reach your house. How many people go arrange go beat them for house if they misbehave? After all, if he close for work, it's not going anywhere. It's coming back home. We'll wait for him. No one else maybe say I won't wait for him. No, we will gather wait for him. Making call explain, you know. But the men who want Nigeria, a new Nigeria is possible, cannot relate to that kind of those Nigerians. Those are riffraffs. People where they speak grammar, that they want to they preach to. They will tell you the system cheated them. Tomorrow, don't worry, after the election, so they begin talk. The system cheats. And sure, the system is a mess. And now we mess them up. But where are the agents? Where are the agents that they are conscientizing now? They are actually training now. I was in New York when Mandani win election. There are over 20,000 people on the streets, at least 20,000 people. That's a mayoral election. That's like, let's say, one local government per se. Somebody go say he want a new Nigeria to be possible. You know, we get 1,000 agents who are on ground locally. And he will tell you he's not desperate to be a president. She will go say, take it back. Take it back from who? Who won't take him back? You want Nigeria, the ordinary Nigerian to have a stake? Go and wake them up. Go and preach this gospel to them. If you are really not a product of a USAID, after all, you'll be village man. You are not born with a golden or silver spoon. You don't educate the voters don't in the language that they will understand. No. You refuse to build structure. You go see now people now be the structure and the people don't know you. You only come to harass them every 4 years. And you need the structure to ensure that when the rain started and the rain start falling, you understand. When the thugs start showing up, the people will be the one to defend those things only when they are empowered enough to stay the course. If not, the man with the cash will always win. They say it takes a man with the faith and gun. So when it comes to election time, now a man with faith and money, and you don't pay past government, I don't care who you is. So live transmission or death transmission, that's not the reason why they will lose the election. That's not the reason. Those same people will tell you, say 2020, 1993, 2092 election was the best. They use IReV. Where's the technology? It was the people. They will never tell you how Abiola was pretty much everywhere in Nigeria. They small there, Abiola, power, Abiola. I they hear all those things. They were fucking everywhere. So people where they always use that as example, they never tell you the process. What that man and his party did. I mean, across the country. So it's an excuse as far as I'm concerned, and I would say it's a distraction. Now, so now waiting educated people they use as a technical sheet for political failure. They fail to actually work. They will say now glitch, electrical transmission, and I'm going to be the problem. So it's much easier to blame a machine in Abuja or in all of this and that than to admit you fuck up. You didn't do the hard work. You didn't do the dirty work. You did the ground level work. No organizing. About 62 million, about 60 million people who did not participate in that last election that are eligible. Nobody's scrutinizing that. Why they happen? They stayed home. A better state than to vote for people who appear more like a stranger or like a thief in the night every now and then. The truth is bitter. Technology can verify a vote for sure, but only a movement. the majority of the people that can defend that vote, nothing else. So until the opposition realize that the masses are not just a trend, like Showore we use to do every now and then on Twitter, or the people are responsibility. So the opposition will keep losing to the people who actually know where the polling units are hidden.
And observe absolute fidelity to constitutionalism. The players will keep corrupting the system.
Yeah.
As the same players are the ones that are appointing authorities of the electoral body and even in the judiciary. This corrupt cycle of electoral processes that has characterized our democracy since 1999 will remain a revolving door without an end. So we need to expand this conversation beyond INEC. Who are the people influencing INEC? Who are the people appointing people to INEC? Who are the people dictating to INEC? Ordinarily, as a senator or as a rep member, and as an elected governor or president, you swore to uphold that constitution. When you did that, when you took that oath of office, it mandates you at all times to do everything within your power, within your areas of responsibility, to improve, continuously improve the lot of the people, our democratic processes, our laws, our welfare, our security, which includes, for instance, the clamor for transmission of results electronically as a means of avoiding, of preventing rigging at the coalition level. Any lawmaker, ordinarily, that is indeed distinguished or honorable, should be heard of the people in bringing up such laws, even if it will cost them the election. But unfortunately, the process that took them up in the first place makes it impossible for them to do this. Because our electoral process has degenerated over time into criminal enterprise of power grab for self-service. So your lawmakers are no longer there to serve you as the people. They are there to serve themselves. So they cannot give any law. They'll make elections free and fair enough for you. Fire them there.
Majid, you've raised a number of interesting points. Number one, if I hear you correctly, electoral reform is actually not, that's the legal aspect of it. It's actually attitudinal. We have to, reform the mindset, the behaviors of our politicians, as it were. And this leads me to this rider to the earlier question. Our politicians, Nigerian politicians, they are perhaps the class of the most despised, Nigerians. I may be wrong, but that's the perception I get. Nigerians despise Nigerian politicians above any other category of, people. So why would Nigerian politicians not see this, not read the room, adequately, and act in their enlightened self-interest or self-preservation? Because what they are doing, is tantamount to committing class suicide. What do you say to this?
The people are to blame for this.
Which people?
With the Nigerian people.
With the Nigerian people.
We are enablers of the same thing you are complaining about.
How?
Identity politics. It is easy for a Nigerian to stay on TV, on radio,
Okay, then my
write on page of newspapers, and criticize Akwabi, and criticize Tinubu. But when the time for election comes, we withdraw into our cocoons of ethnicity and re-elect these ethnic champions that have come from the various sections of Nigeria back to Abuja.
Now, where I fault is responding when they say the people. No, the people, how many people they tweet, how many people they talk for newspaper, how many people they talk for TV. That's why I say, not way. This we know ourselves, he as a corporate. So you see how he's trying to psychologically blame the people, because that is the job of the media. The job of the media is to make the people the problem. Whereas the few of us who speaks for the people are the problem. We are less than what? 20% of the people. So now we go tweet, talk, argue, debate, complain. And when the 3D day come, we will retrieve to our, as he said, to our cocoon to start electing our tribal people. So I totally agree with his response, but now the way he classify under is a little bit too ingenious for me.
So, for instance, you discover that Akpabio might be not popular as a Nigerian Senate president, but he's very popular as senator from Ikone axis of Akwa State. Why? Because he's brought home a lot of things. He's been able to use his position to attack a lot of things back home. It is the same thing with the 109 senators, the 216 House of Rep members, 2 ministers and co. You see, it is called prebendalism. It's a special case for Nigeria. International scholars of political science studied Nigeria particularly and decided that Nigeria's problem of corruption is prebendalism, which is a legitimate form of corruption that is steeped in culture, that derives its roots from identity politics, with largely both along ethnic and religious lines. And no political party has been able to galvanize Nigerians around the pan-Nigerian agenda for collective development.
That's what I'm saying.
However, in the absence of that, the various political parties have mastered the game of keeping us perpetually divided so that they can continuously rule us. So what has happened is this. As the election is getting closer, the narrative will soon change from issues-based politics to sectional things, to other things like whose turn is it? Who should produce the president? Who should produce the vice president? Which religion should produce this? Which country should produce that? Before you know what is happening, again we have fallen into this trap of folly. And we'll give them the legitimacy to come out to Abuja and continue to do what they are doing. You see, the reward system for identity politics is not development. It can't be, it's not good governance. It's patronage. So prebendalism is defined by international scholars as a sense of entitlement over the resources domiciled in their areas of responsibility by appointed or elected political officials. So that a minister in Nigeria thinks that his ministry is a reward for him for participating in politics. So he skews the budget towards the section of the country with him as a major beneficiary. So what happens that leaves Nigeria underdeveloped potentially. Because you can't develop.
This is where I disagree with this and the kind of the conversation me and Mr. James has been having this past couple of days. That I disagree with Chidin Achebe. There was never a Nigeria. There was never a country. And I think as of yesterday, me and Mr. James was going back and forth on the fact that there was never a center. He argued there was a center. I argued there was never a center. But let's listen to this. Let's listen to.
It's self-government. Not complete independence, but self-government.
What's going on here?
But what I want...
Yeah.
One of the major difficulties when independence comes to Nigeria will be the rivalry between the western and the eastern regions.
Now, this was before independence. You are talking about if independence come to Nigeria. So you are talking about 1957. And this is interview with Obafemi Awolowo. 1957. So when I argued that there was never a Nigeria and all this back and forth we're going about regional with tribes and whatever, this is the foundation. It comes from the foundation. The people that negotiated for our independence argue this is where they started from. This problem will be today.
This is Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who is the leader of the western region of Nigeria, which has just celebrated its self-government. not complete independence, but self-government within the Federation of Nigeria.
Self-governance. That's, see, regional. When I did try make Mr. James understand that this the greatest time where the times that he was referring to, all these things started regionally, and it is the attempts to mesh that region into one. That's where we are till today. That's what they could not agree on in Abore, that led to civil war, and that problem has not been solved. We are still, I don't know where we are pretending or deliberately working to be one. But if you ask me, we did deceive ourselves.
Now, Chief Awolowo's title here is Premier, to distinguish him from the Federal Prime Minister. Can you tell us how much self-government you now have in Western Nigeria?
As you know, ours is a federal constitution. Under the constitution, certain matters like defense, foreign affairs, ports and railways and exclusive federal subjects. All other matters which are not declared exclusive federal subjects are residual subjects over which the regions have authority. In regard to those subjects, we are completely self-governing now.
Are you in Western Nigeria content to remain part of a greater Nigeria, or do you hope?
Now, within that, they talk with that. We don't big. This is what 1970 something. We are less than 100 million for sure. We are less than 70 million. Now, where every state don't reach 5 million and is growing, we shouldn't be talking about region. Every region today is almost, some regions are up to close to that 75 million. Let's take it down to the states. Let the state have their own power. When I they talk, people will know that start like to Nigeria. They say it right now they do. No, they do on paper. Well, there was no political way to actually carry it out. I see no reason why any man who is in Bayelsa no fit doing oil seller as he won't sell them. In as far as still subjected to the Nigerian states. Who know eat, who know work, now need the job at this point. Let those where they work eat and say this is how much you want to give to the center after the responsibility of the center should be limited. So there was never a strong center.
One day for complete independence.
Indeed, we are content to remain part of the Federation of Nigeria. We have no intention at all of severing connection with this great country.
Do you think that Nigerians are beginning to think of themselves now as one nation?
Indeed, they have begun to think of themselves as citizens of this great country. And all enlightened Nigerians are determined to ensure that Nigeria remains united.
But not all Nigerians are enlightened.
Not all Nigerians are enlightened, but the majority, quite a good number are enlightened, and the majority are politically conscious to realize the advantages that accrue from Nigeria remaining as a single nation.
One of the major difficulties when independence comes to Nigeria will be the rivalry between the western and the eastern regions.
This is Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who is the leader of the western region of Nigeria, which has just celebrated its self-government. Not complete independence, but self-government within the Federation of Nigeria. Now, Chief Awolowo's title here is Premier, to distinguish him from the Federal Prime Minister. Can you tell us how much self-government you now have in Western Nigeria?
As you know, ours is a federal constitution. Under the constitution, certain matters like defense, foreign affairs, ports and railways and exclusive federal subjects. All other matters which are not declared exclusive federal subjects are residual subjects over which the regions have authority. In regard to those subjects, we are completely self-governing now.
Are you in Western Nigeria content to remain part of a greater Nigeria, or do you hope one day for complete independence?
Indeed, we are content to remain part of the Federation of Nigeria. We have no intention at all of severing connection with this great country.
Do you think that Nigerians are beginning to think of themselves now as one nation?
Indeed, they have begun to think of themselves as citizens of this great country, and all enlightened Nigerians are determined to ensure that Nigeria remains united.
But not all Nigerians are enlightened.
Not all Nigerians are enlightened, but the majority, quite a good number, are enlightened, and the majority are politically conscious to realize the advantages that accrue from Nigeria remaining as a single nation.
So, since even at that time, sir, as far as I'm concerned, they were hoping that the Nigeria automatically will be mesh and see each other as one. But no, it never happened. What, 1975? Less than 10 years later, civil war break out. So even with the fact that Obafemi Awolowo was hoping that the Nigerian state will serve better. So Mr. James, that is proudly a beneficiary of Awo's education policy. So you see, say, his idea has nothing to do with the Nigerian state as at that time. So that competition between the region is what we need among our states. And the easiest way to achieve that will automatically reduce corruption drastically, because the idea of power center being the alpha and omega will be reduced. I don't need to worry about what bias a man won't do for Abuja when the money winning they make directly from oil or indirectly. And is enough for the money that they'll be making for infrastructure, that they'll be busy trying to make Bayelsa one of the best states, not just in the country, but in Africa, but in the world. The same thing, Lagos, man, fuck it, we got it too, man, let's go. Whatever you do, we can do too. That's how challenge is. I go to challenge people for the Enugu. Nobody say I go to look up to Tinubu. I go to say, come, these Enugu people, this is they go feel build they go fit build a research institution that discover how they go fit fly from Onitsha to Abakaliki under 3 minutes. You go see say a Nigerian man, a man, say we busy supernaturally with the film disappear on top granite. I say okay, I'm going to invest. We are going to put $2 billion to make sure the research institution that we enhance or develop or will bring that illusion of disappearing with the granite share into reality, just like what Elon Musk is saying. That those frictions that you will see, that time we bring them to reality. So that's how. Then the man from Meduguri goes there, we get some bizarre for it. We will make sure say the whole world, not just Nigeria, depends on us, or if now only granite, we're going to achieve. I mean, that's how it is. But of course, the older men know, the men who are in power now, or who are proximately closer to power, they understand that if they democratize the system like that, nobody gonna know them. Who the fuck is Jagaba? Who the fuck is Obude? No. But again, now hope. It is the hope that we can handle things better. Now make them negotiate. But they fail to understand that the people they are negotiating with also have an agenda. That's why you don't negotiate with an oppressor. You go. You die there or you take him out. That's how it is. But again, what do I know?
One of the major difficulties when independence comes to Nigeria will be the rivalry between the western and the eastern regions.
This is Chief Obafemi.
And that rivalry is very obvious today. I said it one time on Dr. Dameji, put it to that doctor, say, come. There is a relationship, political rearrangement between the Yorubas and the North. They say no lie. It only makes sense. That's how you get power. If there's 3 people contesting for one position, the goal is to see 2 people fight. If you can take it for those other people to fight, you go and reconcile with the winner or whoever, then you come out on top. That's how this game works. These 2 people fought together during the Civil War to defeat the Southeast. Then somebody will come and argue with me. Oh, they don't need to come and tell you, they come, we are signing a political alignment agreement. No, it's very obvious. And today, it is what it is. So, whatever that you're seeing happen in Nobi today, if people go study the Zik movement and Obina the same thing, the only thing Obina gets now radio station. He doesn't need to have it because radio is democratized now. The process of getting information now, everybody in a radio station. But now the same conversation between between Zik and Awolowo, the same elements that rule around them was the same thing that is happening today. That's why I say again, now Nigeria I be. I'm in Nigeria. For me to wait for somebody to come and tell me my history is an insult. It's an insult.
Awolowo, who is the leader of the western region of Nigeria, which has just celebrated its self-government. Not complete independence, but self-government within the Federation of Nigeria. Now, Chief Awolowo's title here is Premier, to distinguish him from the Federal Prime Minister. Can you tell us how much self-government you now have in western Nigeria?
As you know, ours is a federal constitution. Under the constitution, certain matters like defense, foreign affairs, ports and railways and exclusive federal subjects. All other matters.
And in real sense, that's how it should be. How I go take do business for my village has nothing to do with the federal government. If it has nothing to do with Benin, I will still go out and push it. Igara, that is headquarters of my local government, that shouldn't have anything, not be everything I go to go meet them. My survival is within my environment. Why should I now wait for an outsider to come and dictate to me how I should take care of my environment? It's like you are telling me, say, I am not matured enough to eat food by myself, so you go see how they feed me. No, I'm grown. That's how, I live in America. That's how it plays out. Now when we say federal government, they collect more power. And you can see how reaction is. Let every state be in charge of their survival. Now, they will rely on you on protection from outsiders. That is why the 36 state federation will come together and say, come, for our defense, it no good make with the democracy. I'm going to put down for one place, which is Abuja. This is how much we are going to be contributing to sustain, to build the military. Monetary policy too. They are in charge of that because you have to trade with an outsider. So it better make the regulation of your country should be one. Not be 36 state currency we will get. Like there are so many things, interstate highways, there are a lot of things that have to, but every other thing, how to do business, how to harness the resources, natural resources that is in your locality, under your faith, how you go take develop the people. This is should be entirely you, especially in Nigeria. We don't even speak the same language from state to state. And those people know they stay the same thing like Delta. Delta know they speak like Anambra. Anambra people they go tell you their own language is different from Imo State. For sure, Borno na Kanuri and Marigay, there no be Hausa na Boro language in there. You have to learn them. Kanu will tell you they are different from. Let's put this difference into use. We don't necessarily have to compete, but the competition is not that I must beat Enugu, I must beat Borno. No, the question that I am going to make my people better off. The same thing. So that's how the likes of Awolowo succeeded. The likes of were able to build what they built within that period of time that they had. They had freedom to some extent.
which are not declared exclusive federal subjects are residual subjects over which the regions have authority. In regard to those subjects, we are completely self-governing now.
Are you in Western Nigeria content to remain part of a greater Nigeria, or do you hope one day for complete independence?
Indeed, we are content to remain part of the Federation of Nigeria. We have no intention at all of severing connection with this great country.
Do you think that Nigerians are beginning to think of themselves now as one nation?
Indeed, they have begun to think of themselves as citizens of this great country. And all enlightened Nigerians are determined to ensure that Nigeria remains united.
But not all Nigerians are enlightened.
Not all Nigerians are enlightened, but the majority, quite a good number, are enlightened, and the majority are politically conscious to realize
Went from
the
majority to
advantages
good number.
that accrue from Nigeria remaining as a single nation.
Now the enlightened ones, now them be the problem. That's why I say opposition party are our problem. As simple as that. You just admitted that it's just a good number of Nigerians that are enlightened that are there. No, saying a majority.
But what I want for Nigeria is let's have a regional government. Like we have a prime minister, then we have a Western region, they have their own president. The East, they have their own president. Then Central, that's like England, how they do their, in other kingdom, or like in Germany, they have the same thing. They have their own regional president. Then they have center prime minister. And it's working for them. Because Nigeria is too big. Nigeria is too big to come for one person. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
People who are praying for Biafra to come, you pronounce it well. If you say Biafra, yes, it's not Biafra. If you pray, let your pronouncement well, so that the gods will hear. Because when you say Biafra, it's not correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now, when you hear him speak right now, you would not believe that Iransi was Igbo. That what he's asking for right now was what Nigeria had before Iransi came with fellow Igbos to destroy the structure Nigeria had in 66. It's easier to destroy than to build.
You see? That's why it's hard for me to read Nigerian historians. I very few, or listen to all these people who just write book and all these our ex-military education. Until they are ready to tell the full story. How old is Agun Ironsi at that time? So he was born 1924 and assassinated in 1966. 40 something years. Although 40 something at the age of 40, wait, let's see. He was killing at the age of 42. Now let's put things into let's contextualize things here. And he was IReV. How old with everybody around him then? Do you think they are older than him, or they are the same age bracket, or they are younger? Now, why I bring that into the conversation is to make the complete. What is the rule? Because it's obvious that these people either working hand in hand with the external power, or not the external power that lead them. And if history serves me right, and if the current things that I am born to understand now, I would say the outside we're actually dictating for those boys. Now, is that an excuse for them? No. What I'm trying to say that the idea is that now one tribe actually plan and perpetrate this at the expense of the other tribe is bunkum. But as far as I'm concerned, Nigeria was still being put together as it is. We negotiated for it in the 60s, in the hands of the British. As at that time, The British has already lost their superpowers around the globe. Americans were in charge after they lost the Second World War in 1944-45. So America was the order of the day. It only took them that long, took them that 20 years, maybe 15 years for them to get to focus in Nigeria to say, hey, we are in charge now. And this whole regional parliamentary government is bullshit. Before they get it in 1667, in 1676, when the 13th colony of the United States rose against the British colonialism. So we're not going to take that under our, we're not going to accept that under our watch. So Nigeria has to become a federation, has to become a presidential system. And how do we make that happen? Of course, that's where the military comes in. And this no, no verse, I beg. I don't even know where I did against self. Thing went up. I beg, like, share, and subscribe.
You don't have to be smart to destroy. You can just get a matchbox, a bottle of petrol, you can burn down things. To build is another thing entirely. And when he was doing it, it was not an Iransi project, just to be clear. It was Iransi, it was Igbo politicians, it was Igbo lecturers and academicians, or what you call intellectuals, and Igbo people, regular people supported what Iransi did. I'm going to read something to you. I read it earlier today. I'm going to read it one more time. This is from the educated elite in Nigerian society. Since the last event, this is what Igbo intellectuals said in 1966. May. This was published in Mbeyi Collections Biafra Newsletter, Volume 1, Number 8. They published it on 1st March 1968, but they were referring to what they said in 1966. Since the last event, Unification Decree, it has become crystal clear that the former leaders of the Action Group have, as predicted, joined forces with the former leaders of the NNDP in a renewed battle against Easterners. Recent events have further demonstrated that these leaders are clearly striving to counter the efforts of the military regime to forge national unity. In this respect, the Western leaders are one with the...
Now, you see the excuse that they are giving. when I challenged that doctor, said there was a relationship, political arrangement between the North and the West. The guy was, I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, you can argue, just as the guy is arguing, that there is a reason, and the reason is that they see the Igbos as people who want to disrupt what is already good for the people.
The northern leaders who are similarly opposed to a unitary system of government in Nigeria. And all of them are anxious that the country should revert to the old federal structure, which, as everyone knows, was a principal cause of most of the woes of the First Republic. The people who changed the structure were your people. This is not about trading blame games. It's about, like, you cannot do something, destroy the structure, benefit from the chaos, and then once it doesn't benefit you anymore, you then turn around and say that original structure, that's what we really want, and act as if you never really were part of it. And by the way, I'm not just talking about Ironsi. Read the book by Adewale Ademoyega, Why We Struck. He mentioned how Ironsi pushed unitary decree because of NCNC, which was already Igbolized. But let me read something to you here. This is from Why We Struck, Adewale Ademoyega. Another important point was that we removed the politicians because we were convinced that they were evil. We did not favor any side. We did not seek to wear the garb of any political party. This we knew for sure. Ironsi, on the other hand, surrounded himself with a particular tribe and chose the political policies of a particular party. The tribe was the Igbo and the party was the NCNC. He could not see that this kind of situation called for the balancing of ideas, principles, and personalities. That's what Ironsi did. Ironsi surrounded himself with 100% Igbo advisors, 100%. And the unitary decree that he gave to us was given to us based on one person's recommendation. The man's name is Francis Onwokedi. What am I trying to say? That we can't just change it. Things can change. It's just that you cannot destroy something and lecture people. You can't lecture us about the kind of structure that works for Nigeria, especially when, if you're supposed to know it better than us, then you should be fixing it. But no, you're not trying to fix it. You're trying to tell us to fix it after you have destroyed it, and you're now insulting all of us for living in it.
But what I want for Nigeria is, let's have a regional government. Like we have a prime minister, then we have the Western region, they have their own president. The East, they have their own president. Then Central, that's like England, how they rule there, United Kingdom, or like in Germany, they have the same thing. They have their own regional president. Then they have center prime minister, and it's working for them. Because Nigeria is too big. Nigeria is too big to come for one person. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank you.
People who are praying for Biafra to come, you pronounce it well. If you say Biafra, yes, it's not Biafra. If you pray, if they let your pronouncement well, so that the gods will hear. Because when you say Biafra, it's not correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now, when you hear him speak right now, you would not believe that Ironsi was Igbo. That what he's asking for right now was what Nigeria had before Ironsi came with fellow Igbos to destroy the structure Nigeria had in '66. It's easier to destroy than to build. You don't have to be smart to destroy. You can just get a matchbox, a bottle of petrol, you can burn down things. To build is another thing entirely. And when he was doing it, it was not an Ironsi project, just to be clear. It was Ironsi, it was Igbo politicians, it was Igbo lecturers and academicians, or what you call intellectuals, and Igbo people, regular people, supported what Ironsi did. I want to read something. I'm going to read one. He educated the elite in Nigerian society. Since the last event, this is what in 1966. Made in Mbeyi Collections Biafra Newsletter, Volume 1, Number 8. They published it on 1st March 1968, but they were referring to what they said in 1966. Since the last event, Unification Decree, it has become crystal clear that the former leaders of the Action Group have, as predicted, joined forces with the former leaders of the NNDP in a renewed battle against Easterners. Recent events have further demonstrated that these leaders are clearly striving to counter the efforts of the military regime to forge national unity. In this respect, the Western leaders are one with the Northern leaders who are similarly opposed to a unitary system of government in Nigeria. And all of them are anxious that the country should revert to the old federal structure, which, as everyone knows, was a principal cause of most of the woes of the First Republic. The people who changed the structure were your people. This is not about trading blame games. It's about, like, you cannot do something, destroy the structure, benefit from the chaos, and then once it doesn't benefit you anymore, you then turn around and say that original structure, that's what we really want, and act as if you never really were part of it. And by the way, I'm not just talking about Ironsi. Read the book by Adewale Ademoyega, Why We Struck. He mentioned how Ironsi pushed unitary decree because of NCNC, which was already Igbolized. But let me read something to you here. This is from Why We Struck, Adewale Ademoyega. Another important point was that we removed the politicians because we were convinced that they were evil. We did not favor any side. We did not seek to wear the garb of any political party. This we knew for sure. Ironsi, on the other hand, surrounded himself with a particular tribe and chose the political policies of a particular party. The tribe was the Igbo and the party was the NCNC. He could not see that this kind of situation called for the balancing of ideas, principles, and personalities. That's what Ironsi did. Ironsi surrounded himself with 100% Igbo advisors, 100%. And the unitary decree that he gave to us was given to us based on one person's recommendation. The man's name is Francis Onwokedi. What am I trying to say? That we can't just change it. Things can change. It's just that you cannot destroy something and lecture people. You can't lecture us about the kind of structure that works for Nigeria, especially when, if you're supposed to know it better than us, then you should be fixing it. But no, you're not trying to fix it. You're trying to tell us to fix it after you have destroyed it, and you're now insulting all of us for living in it.
All right. What I want for Nigeria is, let's have a regional government. Like,
we'll go on break and come back. Like, share, and subscribe as you leave.